Hi, my name's Laura. I'm a qualified therapist here in the UK, in Manchester specifically, and I'm a therapist. I work in a free service at the moment, and I know that not a lot of people, not everyone is able to pay for seeing a qualified therapist, a qualified counsellor. At the same time, not everyone has access to free services. Right now, at the moment, there is an economic crisis. People are struggling with their finances, and at the same time, there is a bit of a crisis in terms of free services. When I say crisis, I mean that people are having to wait 6 months, 3 months, 12 months, over a year for example, NHS services, which we have in the UK. So I'm just going to share some ways that you can access support in terms of therapy without having to bear a huge cost. So if you think about here in the UK, you can see your GP for free. So one of the things I'd say is you can make an appointment with your GP. If it's easy enough for you to make an appointment with your GP, you can tell your GP about how you're feeling, what you think your mental health difficulties are, and they can refer you to a therapeutic service. A lot of the time that's, of course, by the NHS. However, nowadays you can actually refer yourself online. So there's actually self-referral forms in your local area. I'm actually in Manchester, so I know a lot about the services here in Manchester, but you can actually search on Google your local service depending on your area. So your GP may refer you to an online referral form. Another thing you can think about is actually local mental health services in your area. When I say that, I mean there may be charities, organisations in your local area. So they're not the NHS, they're not private, you're not paying, but they are a mental health organisation. A lot of the time they are specialist services. So for example, Women's Aid, domestic abuse charities. So if there are services such as like that, you may find it more easier to access support via some of those charities because they offer therapy for free as well. Another thing you can actually do is search for a private therapist, and that may be online. You can search using Google, you can search in your local area, but some therapists actually offer discounted sessions. Now, not everyone is aware of that, and that is not the case for every therapist here in the UK or across the world, but you can actually ask the therapist that you're contacting if they offer discounted services. And this is often for people who are earning under a certain amount or maybe in specific circumstances. So if you feel you fall in that category, they may be able to offer you services at a discounted rate. So a lot of the time that may be 50% off. Even with mental health charities, you can access the therapy for free, or you may just give a donation, whatever you can actually afford. That might be a few pounds, that might be £10, whatever that is for yourself. So they're just some ways that you can access therapy a quicker way maybe without having to bear a large cost. I hope that makes sense, and I hope you find that helpful.